What did your teachers used to say about you?
What did my teachers used to say? I can't remember, but hopefully something nice. Alright guys, today we're going to go on a little tour of the area I grew up in. Good old Rexdale, Dixon and Kipling. Actually, you know what? Come to think of it, I think this is where I got my first bank account. Been banking with TD ever since, to tell you the truth. It's kind of the plaza. When I was here, there was definitely no shoppers. Forgot what that was. Or was there shoppers? I don't know. That's where I got my braces. My dentist was over there. Yeah, there used to be a little arcade place here where all the kids used to play their video games. The game that I killed back then, you guys remember Double Dragon? Killed that game. A lot of fights that broke out at that arcade game as well. But yeah, this is where we used to go. This pizza's been here from day one. I think back then, guys, I used to walk here to get pizza. It was $1 a slice back then, and the slices were humongous. Or maybe I was just smaller, I don't know. I'm gonna take you guys to the middle school I went to at Dixon Grove. All right, yeah, so I used to walk to school. It used to seem a lot further. It's not too bad now. But, or sometimes I used to jump on the bus. One bus will take you to Dixon Grove here. And it was a good time, man. It was a good time. Actually, coming back now, when I'm coming back to the area, I didn't realize how small of a unit we used to live in. It was 5 of us, me, my 2 brothers, and my parents. And we lived in like a 2-bedroom apartment. At one point, I think we were at a 1+ den. Good times. It was fun. So yeah, this is the school. I came grade 6, I believe. Yeah, this was my grade 6 school. Yeah, I remember walking to the school, guys. It was interesting because we were the youngest in the school when we came. There was quite a few recess and lunchtime fights right about there. Witnessed a lot of. I don't know if you kids still have your after-school fights, but we used to have them quite a bit. I had 2 really good friends. We're stuck by the hip. We had to time what time we would leave the house to go to school, because there was always a bully. His name is Giuseppe, by the way. I still remember you, Giuseppe, in case you had me on social media. But this guy was like the neighborhood bully, and he used to catch us in the park, so we used to sometimes go to school late. I'm gonna actually show you guys the park where he used to hang out at. He was in between the buildings. You couldn't get around this guy. It's kind of like he had a GPS on us back then, but and he was like a couple of grades older than us, and it was never fun running into Giuseppe. I think one time he tried to take my shoes. I came back with my shoes, but I also came back with a black eye. Alright, so this is good old Dixon Grove. When I got in here, my older brother just graduated. It would have been nice to have him here while I got in. I think it goes up to grade 8. So I got in the other elementary school that I'll show you guys. I went there till grade 5. I got here in grade 6 and went up to grade 8. So you know, it's a different neighborhood. We used to get picked on by the grade 8 kids, and it would have been nice to have my brother there, but all good. It doesn't kill you, makes you stronger. What was my teacher's name? Mr. McInnes, was it? I think it was Mr. McInnes. He was a pretty cool teacher. Here in this building, 390, and this is cool, man. There's a little convenience store there. We used to go there and get our chocolate bars and stuff like that. As kids, I remember being that. Listen, I'm gonna tell you a story about an elevator right here, okay? So, me and my little brother, we were in the elevator, and I forget where we were going, but we were in the elevator. Elevator stopped on the floor. In comes these two guys, okay? They're older than us, teenagers back then, whatever. Literally had a snake around their neck, okay? They had a snake around their neck. And they're like, hey, you kids afraid of snakes? We're like, yeah. And then literally said, are you afraid of guns? We're like, yes. And we pressed the next floor, and me and my little brother shot out. We ran out, and I think they were chasing us, but I don't think they're going to do anything. They're just messing around. And then there was a convenience store back there, and then I had two really good friends. Shout out to Cambiz and Rishi. You guys are going to see this video. You guys are going to love it. Sometimes we used to get really silly, and we used to play Nicky Nine Door. And then one time, one of my friends, I won't mention which one, but he was Nicky Nine Door. And I remember it was like you know, those glass things in front of the door, those storm doors, and he broke it, and his whole hand started bleeding, and we had to take off. This was a cool neighborhood, man, because like there were so many people around, and I guess I came from humble beginnings. Didn't seem like it when I was here, but when I come back sometimes, definitely does. And this is the other building we lived in. Like I said, it was me, my two brothers. I'm the middle guy, so my older brother, my younger brother. And here I think we had a 2-bedroom apartment. I remember my parents used to wake up, go to work, and really the three of us were home, and we'd wake up, walk to school and things like that. And Giuseppe, you bully bastard. I'm gonna show you guys a park where Giuseppe used to meet us. So where I'm taking you guys now is like kind of the backyard. So this is like the back of the building, and this is where the kids used to get together. Right now they're probably in school. Tennis, hockey, cricket. I used to play a lot of cricket back here, and we used to cut through this park to go to school. And I remember one time we had like a project to do, and I decided to use a big Bristol board, but it was backed onto like a box. In that box, you gotta represent, bro. You gotta represent. Back then it was really windy, so we had a big Bristol board, big box, and it was windy. And I remember I was carrying that box, and I was just a little guy, so the wind would just take me, and I was like a kite, and I would fly around here. But check out this park. Check out this park. Halloween in this neighborhood was interesting because somebody's gonna try to jack your candy. I mean, I remember like one year we worked hard for candy. We went to every single house, me and my boys, and we were walking through this park to go home, and there was a bunch of kids here that tried to jack our candy. That tree, one of these trees right here, one of my friends got thrown into the tree. But we tried to protect his candy. We couldn't. We had to give up one bag, and I remember bolting through the neighborhood to get home so we can get our candies. Growing up, we didn't have much toys, so I remember me and my brothers were in the balcony, and we lived really close to the airport. Actually, my mom used to work at the airport. She used to wake up and take the bus to the airport. And my dad, he worked as a delivery guy or in a factory, both. But anyhow, back to the airplane. So we didn't have much toys growing up. So I remember me and my brothers used to sit on the balcony, and literally we had baseball bats, and we pretended they were bazookas. And every time the airplane would come by, we'd be like, yeah, I got it. We'd shoot the airplanes, and that was the game we played. And sometimes my dad, he would jump in on those games, and he happened to know every single airline. Like, he'd be like, yeah, that's Air Canada, that's Lufthansa, that's that. I'm like, that's when you're bored and you have nothing to do, I guess you figured out every airline. So that's my airplane story. Alright guys, so now we're gonna go to my elementary school. That was a cool time because we moved from Vancouver. We moved to this neighborhood, and I remember the first day when I walked into class. You know, back then all the guys were like, "It's a boy," because I was a new kid, and they were happy. There was a guy, his name was Edward, and he was the first friend I made at that school. And I walked into the morning. I was sitting beside Edward. Edward was a super nice guy. He was the first friend I made at that school. And come recess, other kids jumped at me and they were like, "Don't be friends with Edward. Don't be friends with Edward." Man, kids could be mean, I guess. And apparently, Edward did number 1 and number 2 in his pants in school. That's what they told me, and that's the reason why I shouldn't be friends with him. But you know, kids could be cruel. Poor Edward. I never partaked in making fun of him, but poor guy did get it bad. So, Edward, if you're watching this, I apologize for all the things that you had to go through. Yo, there was a guy named Armand. He was a swimmer, and he used to live in this neighborhood, and the guy was just built like a tank in such a young age because he was actually a really good swimmer. He used to be in competing and all that kind of stuff. Who else was around here? Tyobi. Remember Tyobi? Obviously Rishi and Camby's, another shout out to those guys. Those guys made this place fun for me. That was my crew. So this is where it went down, right about here. What can I tell you about school? Who were my teachers back then? I think it was Mr. Schneider. Shout out to Mr. Schneider. School was interesting back then. Listen, my favorite subject was recess. I was good at recess. I enjoyed gym class too. I can't remember, but hopefully something nice. I do have a story from a teacher that I do remember. This was later on in high school. It's funny how things come full circle. Anyway, this teacher, I think I was in like grade 11, and I don't know, she picked up on something. She called me on the side and she said to me, she goes, "Listen," she goes, "you're not like your friends." I said, "What do you mean?" She says, "You're not like your friends. Don't hang around with that crowd. You are a smart guy. Go do smart things. They are not like you. You don't need to hang out with them." Funny enough, that conversation there really changed my perspective on things. Guys, 20 years later, maybe more, that same teacher came and she worked at the front desk of the brokerage I was at. And I told her what she had said to me and how it kind of impacted me. And I gave her the biggest hug. It was so crazy. And like a couple weeks before she showed up at the brokerage, I was thinking about her. That's how crazy the universe is. And I got to say thank you to her. And I remember in grade 11 is the time when I really started picking up in school, because they only took year 12 and half of OAC mark to get to university. Shout out to my girlfriend back then who kind of saw something in me, and she said, "Listen, don't hang around with all these guys, hang around with me and study because you're smart." So I did, and that was the first time in my life I actually got good enough grades and I went to university, and here we are, got my real estate license. So hopefully that answered your question. Squirrel! I think back then it wasn't like you don't go to different subjects, it was kind of like all in one. It was younger elementary school. But this is where it went down, and this was fun in school. I remember, you know, after school kids would run home, and a lot of crazy shit went down on the walk to and from home and at recess. Guys, I don't know, there was a lot of tussles back in the day, a lot of fist fights. You had to stand up for yourself, and man, I'm really thankful that I grew up in this neighborhood, to be quite honest, and I think it brought a lot of peace of Rick. Older Rick, younger Rick had to go through some shit, but older Rick appreciates you, younger Rick. And you know what, just to wrap up, like now today I'm a father and I have 2 sons, and I drop them off to school and I pick them up to school. I'm really glad that they go to schools in a little bit better neighborhoods. Glad I can do that for them. But I had a blast growing up here. I really did. And thank you guys for joining me in this journey. Thank you guys for coming along with the ride of the neighborhood I grew up in. Catch you guys soon.